What's up, everybody? What's up? What's going on? So, my name is Majesty Gale. If you don't know me, I am a real estate investor based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I have been here since '07, and I've been in real estate since like 2013. That's when I first got involved with it. So I'm a real estate investor. I operate real estate, and I also do construction as well. So everything real estate based, is that's my specialty. That's what I do. So this video is really to kick off, I guess, kind of a challenge, a diary. I don't know what to call it right now. I've been doing content for a while. In full transparency, it hasn't been as consistent as it could be. And this format is what I'm going to try out. I got this is basically a daily vlog, like a diary type situation, tied to a specific outcome, or something that I'm working on, which what I'm working on is to acquire and or develop or put under development 1,000 units of multifamily housing, so apartment complexes. That's my current niche, depending on who you're talking to, and that's what I'm actively doing. How did I get there? Or how did I even, some background on myself? Like I said, I came to Atlanta in '07, got into real estate in 2013. I started out, I got in because a friend that I knew was rich. He was making a lot of money, and he had a really nice car. And I'm like, man, whatever you're doing, I need to get in on it. He had been trying to recruit me for a while into his business, into his operations, but I always had something going on. But there was a time he recruited me into it, where I was dealing with some challenges in my current business at the time, and he convinced me to get involved. I helped him move his offices from New York to Atlanta. He wanted to open up an Atlanta office and keep his one in New York, so he wanted 2 offices. And so I came on board to help him with that. So we opened up the office successfully, and what he did was he was basically a high-level wholesaler. He would find cheap properties that needed work that he could sell to investors, and basically act as the middleman, and you get a check for doing that, if done correctly. So that's what he was doing. I learned the game by working on his Atlanta operations. He put me in charge of Atlanta completely, like hiring, did everything. Like he was like, here's your office, make it work type thing. And he was there to help somewhat, but he was definitely kind of threw me in the water. But yeah, I did my first deal. It was a land deal. I flipped it to some investors. It was a wild experience. Almost lost the deal a few times, just newbie stuff. And made my first assignment fee, and I was hooked. I was like, wow, I just made several $1,000s off of this in a matter of weeks, by being the middleman. And it takes a lot of work. Don't get it twisted. It takes a lot of work, but that's how I got started in real estate. That was the first thing. So I moved from wholesaling to doing flips myself, which is basically the normal, natural trajectory, because you're coming across these deals and you're like, hey man, maybe I could buy it. Like, I don't have to be the middleman. Maybe I could be the middleman and buy it. Like, it just stops with me. And that's exactly what happened. We used a lot of guerrilla tactics to get our deals. Obviously we were on the phones, but we also did just go door to door. And these are typically properties that are in the worst areas of any city. And we were focused on Atlanta, of course, but they're usually, run down, distressed, condemned. There's some type of issue with them, hence why they have, so much work that they need done to them. and there's typically tenants in them too, so you got to deal with that part. But yeah, so I found the property. Fortunately, it didn't have any tenants, but it needed a lot of work, a full gut rehab. So I went ahead and committed to doing it, did it, and that was my first flip. It was in Atlanta, in the Grove Park area. And yeah, so it was a challenge, but it went well enough to where I was, kind of convinced that that's what I'm gonna do moving forward. I did that for a while. Ended up getting my GC license out of necessity because I needed to control the construction side of things. That was where a lot of cost and what have you was running, like kind of wild. So I got my GC license so that I could control, like be vertically integrated, right? And so that's what happened there. And then doing more flips, getting my GC license, I started doing work for other people and started being referred out to other people. So the next, I guess, step in my trajectory was to start doing general contracting for others, but also that includes the government, like government jobs. So I've done work with the city of East Point. I did a lot of work with them on their city hall, their fire station, actually, and even their jail, their county jail, which was an interesting experience. And just kind of kept working from there, building, kind of my name, my track record, and started doing new construction from there as well, because it became challenging. It's harder to find a property that just needs a little bit of work, in my experience, than to find a piece of land that can be built on. There's more competition for that house than there is for that land. It's easier to buy a piece of land and find it for a good deal. Now, you can find some houses, but it may not be a good deal. So I started moving more into development because that's where the deals were. And that's also where I guess my goals started kind of moving towards, is building. So I did that, ran into some challenges with development as opposed to rehab. It's very capital intensive, meaning that you need the money to buy the land. Banks typically aren't going to loan much for you to buy a piece of raw land. You also need the money to do the architecture, like get the building plans and everything. That includes engineering. You got to pay the whole cost. There's taxes, there's security costs, there's a lot of costs that go into development, and it takes anywhere from 3 to 5 years to develop something commercially or residentially, probably like, let's just say 9 months to 18 months if you're building a house. So you got to carry all these costs while you're developing. So that was a lesson learned. Not to say that I wouldn't look into development anymore, but I definitely am more focused on what's called acquisition rehab, which is basically flipping. But commercial they call it acquisition rehab. It's when you acquire a property and then rehabilitate it to get it, to get it ready for sale or for lease or for whatever. And I focused on multifamily because my niche is also, I guess you could say, affordable and or workforce housing. I don't do like luxury towers or anything like that. I'm typically working with garden style apartments that don't have elevators. Sometimes they do. Most of the time they don't. They're walk-ups, a few levels. You've probably seen them everywhere. Typical blue-collar people will be living in them. Or even people that are on some type of subsidy. I personally think these subsidies are good, a great thing for business, and that's my niche. So anyway, I say all that just to kind of give a background into how I got here and how this challenge even came about. So my mentor in the real estate space specifically is Grant Cardone, and I got this challenge from him. He actually came out to Atlanta a couple years ago. We were able to meet. I was on his show, and I don't think the show came out, but he was filming the show. We filmed it, but I don't think he dropped it yet. But I was on the show. At the time, I was doing more new construction and dabbling in modular construction. So I was doing container homes, and basically was trying to sell him the concept. He does multifamily. If you don't know, that's where people think he gets his money from, like, I don't know, selling people stuff, pitching people stuff. And that's not where his wealth comes from. His wealth comes from his real estate deals that he does. Like, that's where his actual wealth comes from. Just FYI. But so he owns like 15,000 apartments, and he raises money from accredited investors, high net worth people, stuff like that, to do it. And basically he told me I should copy his model. Like, I should work, on multifamily exclusively, and I should not really look into development because of the risk. And while I was kind of bummed that he didn't want to do my project exactly, I did come in second place on the show, which came with, and he agreed to, mentor me, which was pretty cool. To have a billionaire agree to mentor you is pretty cool. So I've been working with him for the past 2 years, maybe, since that happened. And on multifamily specifically, like kind of really dialing in, locking in on multifamily. So I don't really do houses anymore. I still have some projects that I do for people out of referrals, and that's just another stream of income, kind of to push the multifamily thing. It's capital intensive as well, to buy multifamily. We're talking big deals, typically between about 5 million to 20 million, somewhere between there, like the low end and the high end. We have gone above the 20 million mark on deals, but right now that's kind of where things are. To go back to the initial point of the video, like, this is basically a launch into a challenge that I'm doing. That challenge it's a challenge to myself, and I'm just capturing the process as granular as possible and as real as possible. Just me talking, me showing different things that I'm doing when I can remember to record. I have to pick up this habit of recording, and then also me just showing like property tours and just really giving a behind the scenes look at what I do, instead of like the whole super edited approach. I tried that. It's very time consuming, and I just don't know if it fits my personality as much as just being able to record like this. So we're gonna do this, see how it goes. Hopefully it's helpful to people just to kind of see the behind the scenes, because it's a lot that goes into this, man. When you're doing deals of that size, you're working with all these different people. Most of the properties are like 50 to 150 apartments. So you got that many tenants, and then families. So you can multiply that by about 3 that you're dealing with. The sellers, the government. It's a lot of movement. It's a lot that goes on. So I really want to be able to catch the behind the scenes. And my ultimate goal is to catch hit the target, and to catch the process of hitting the target, because I'm not, where I want to be, and I can say that, and I can say that confidently. Not that I haven't had relative successes. I haven't come a long way from where I started and, exceeded expectations. But I still have a lot more to do. Like I said, my mentor owns 15,000 apartments. This challenge is for me to reach the first 1,000. And I do expect to exceed him in the long run. But the first step is 1,000 units. I want to get them right here in Metro Atlanta. He gave me the challenge to do 2,000 units in 2 years. So I broke it up in half. We're going to do 1,000 units in 1 year. I'm giving myself until the end of 2026 to make that happen. And it's currently the end of October in 2025. So guess I got a little bit of lead time on the challenge. I do expect to complete the challenge before December 2026. Mostly because I already got some things moving. I'm just trying to tie it to a year, and this year are already almost over. But yeah, so that's what's happening. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm actually driving to one of those construction projects that I mentioned. It's not a crazy project, but it's actually a client that I've worked with before. I've done some commercial work for him. He's also an investor in one of the projects that I'm working on. I always tend to create like really close relationships with my investors. And we offer value to each other in different ways. He knows I'm a GC. He has an issue at his home. Long story, but he backed his Cybertruck into his porch, and so I have to help him with that. And yeah, you can imagine what that looks like as far as columns and gutters, and you know, he didn't like run it all the way over, but he backed it into it enough for the. Yeah, we got to deal with that. So I'm gonna help him with that. You know, through my construction company. I do like to stay active, but that's what's going on right now. I do have a call a little bit later on some deals I'm working on. So let me just tell you about my pipeline right now. I got 2 properties under contract. One is 60 units of workforce housing, probably about 25% occupied with Section 8 tenants. The rest are market rate. We plan on fixing it up a little bit. It's already stabilized for the most part. Has about 87-90% occupancy. So the goal is to get it as full as possible and just kind of hold on to it and refinance within 3 years. So that's one project that I have, and that's in South Atlanta. And then I have another project under contract. It's 160 something units, 163 I think, and it's a 100% Section 8 project. So everybody there is on Section 8. There's a contract with HUD on the property. It's a Section 8 property. It would be considered more affordable housing, but that one needs a lot more work than the first one. We're going to put about $2 to $3 million of rehab into the property. That includes the units and the outside. Security, add some gates. There's a common area that we want to upgrade and utilize for the residents. There's also a grant that we're getting from the city on it. So that's pretty cool. The city's in favor of the project. They always want to, you know, I won't say always, but they're typically supportive of projects that make the city look better. So that's one of those. This one is actually in the city of Atlanta, in the West Midtown kind of area, I guess. And yeah, so I have about 220 something units under contract right now. That's 20% plus of the 1,000 unit goal. The 60 unit deal is supposed to will close by the end of January of 2026. And then the 160 unit deal will close by the end of March, we're saying, but with this shutdown, I truly don't know, because we're still dealing with the shutdown, and that affects HUD. So we'll say by April of 2026. So let's just say first quarter of 2026, we should have 200 units under our belt from this challenge, and I'll definitely have probably an additional 200 under contract to close that next quarter. So I basically need to get about 250 units a quarter. It's not difficult to do in this market. There's a lot of deals available, especially ones that need work. So anyway, I'm just kind of talking, ranting. I'd love to hear what people think, about the challenge, about this kind of structure of the challenge. It's a rainy day in Atlanta right now. I'm driving to my client's house to set my crew right. I got to get them ready to do the work. Just make sure they understand the scope and all of that. And I full time I'm doing the multifamily thing, and part time I do the construction stuff. As mentioned, it keeps income generating that I can then put into other ventures until they pay out. Because for example, these deals aren't closing until the first quarter. I have to spend money now on these deals. There's earnest money, which is required just to buy a property, just to put it under contract. You have to put up earnest money. And I know people on the residential side that own their home, they understand that process. You want to buy a house for, let's just say $400,000. They're typically expecting at least 1% of a deposit up front just to do a contract to buy that property. So $4,000, and we're talking about $5 to $20 million deals. 1% of that adds up. $20 million deal, we're talking about $200,000 that you just got to put in escrow with an attorney, and it just sits there. So it's very expensive to do this, and then you got the cost of everything you have to do before you close. You have to do appraisals, you have to pay lender fees, you have to do inspections on the property, you have to engage different providers like attorneys. You have to get an attorney. They typically want a retainer. All of the above. You got to raise capital. Raising capital costs money. Like it sounds crazy, but it costs money to raise money. Like it costs money because how will anybody know that you're raising money? You got to market, right? Or get out there and let people know, which costs, and then you also have to have the structure set up. That costs. That's legal fees. That's all the above. So there's a lot of costs that go into doing business in general, but especially this business. So the construction side of things helps to assist with those costs, and I'm appreciative of that skill set and that lane that I have available. And it's vertically integrated. I self-perform mostly on my projects. So like the rehab work that we're talking about doing, like that would be, my construction company either doing the work or at least overseeing the work. So, it's not like I'm moonlighting and then doing, I don't know, baking cookies or something like that. That's not related to real estate, or, selling hoodies or something, it's real estate still, and it's a skill set that opens a lot of doors for me and allows me to have deeper conversations like this investor who I'm going to his house now to help him with his porch. He didn't start off as an investor. He started off as a commercial contracting client. He has a commercial space that I helped him build out, and the relationship turned into an investment. So and it also allows people to see. People like when you're vertically integrated and have a deep understanding of the thing you're working on. You become kind of an authority or what have you in their life for that thing, and that's great. I'm glad I can add value in more ways than one. So. And I like getting my hands dirty. I actually used to perform and do the work myself. I don't do the work as much anymore. I prefer to work with, really just guys that are better than me at doing it. So I try to get the best person to do it. And my best position is in managing the projects, making sure the scope of work is accurate, it gets done correctly, materials are where they need to be, people are where they need to be. Clients are satisfied, understand the process, all those things. So that's what I do. But anyway, I think that this is a good starting video for what I do, or what I plan to do. And I'm looking forward to like, I guess, kind of hearing from people or seeing where this goes. I'm not gonna allow myself to judge how it goes. I think I'm gonna look at maybe a 30-day period as a milestone, this being day one, and to see just like hopefully people are seeing it. I don't know how that goes. I probably should just go live on YouTube probably instead of recording it on my phone. Either way, I'll figure it out. I mean, but you know, this is a new thing for me. I'm typically just working head down, but I am going to approach this differently. I think that it will be valuable in some way, even if it's not during the challenge, but afterwards, after the target is hit, because I will hit my target. Actually, I'll exceed my target. Because like I say, you know, I'm looking for more than 1,000 units. This is just to get things going. But anyway, so appreciate you guys for checking this out, listening in. Let me know if you have any thoughts, any questions, any ideas, any comments. I don't know, you have suggestions on what I can do better, maybe on what I can do moving forward that would add, you know, value somehow, whatever. Yeah, just let me know. But I appreciate you guys checking it out, and I will be back. Well, I have a call later with some lenders on a deal, on the 163 unit deal, so I'll record that. What else I got going on today? I'm working on some legal work. Like, I don't know how to capture that. It's like I gotta review legal documents. I'm like, I don't think anybody wants to see that, but it's a part of the process. It's like there's a lot of legal documentation. We're talking about hundreds of pages of it, and a lot of different agreements that have to go into place. So I don't really know how to capture that. I'll capture the call. It's kind of rainy out here. I may be able to capture a little bit about this job I'm on, so you can see how this guy messed up his column with his Cybertruck, but I don't want to put him on blast, you know, as well. So, but anyway, I'll be back. Appreciate you guys checking it out. This shouldn't be the last video of the day. I think I'll have something else for you guys. All right, bye. Yeah, so it's not too bad. Not too bad.
About you, I guarantee you.
That's awesome, and that's why I'm here, Grant, so that you can tell me the inside scoop and I don't lose my butt.
Yeah. Peter's not thinking about it. You're not going to lose anything. This is what you do. You look at a lot of deals and you start collecting data, and then you start realizing, oh wow, that woman said she was a nice woman, and then you realize she was a psychopath. And the next time you meet a woman like that, you're going to be like, wait, that could be like that other chick. And you start collecting data. So I tell my kids, I'm not smarter than you guys. I've just had more experiences.
Right. Totally understand. So should I ask more questions of Peter about all this? And
yeah, I would just ask Peter, say, Peter, man, I looked it up. The debt was 42 million, bro.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, why would, you told me they paid 107. Why would anybody put $60 million down?
Oh, he straight up told me, because I asked him, he said, this is an all equity purchase. And I was like, oh, so they
that doesn't even mean anything. What that has nothing to do with what you just said to him.
Yeah.
You're talking about, you asked him about a dog and he mentioned it raining.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is, you'd be like, well, yeah, that's cool, bro. But why would, if they paid 107, why would they finance $42 million?
Yeah, I didn't know about the financing.
Didn't Chris say that there was a second loan on it right now? They actually owe 63?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and then the other question, Kevin, you want to ask them is, why would you give me this deal? You don't know me. You don't know me. I've never done a deal in Marietta.
Yep. That was part of my follow-on question. because I only had 30 minutes with him due to the circumstances. And so I asked all the primary questions that I could get out of him. We were supposed to do a follow-on yesterday, and now he's kind of hitting me with, well, I kind of need to know now if you guys are going to do an LOI. So he's kind of put me on the spot to say, hey, are you guys going to, ask for this deal or not? Are you going to LOI this deal? And I wanted to bring it to you and to Jana and to my team first because, again, I'm new to this.
What he's doing right now is he's making you part of a list.
Yep.
You're being used right now. So you can go to the seller and say, hey, I don't just have 13 names. I now have 13 names and Kevin.
Yeah.
So you're
he
being
said that
used.
there were low teen bidders. So the bidder numbers are in the low teens.
Yeah, what's 13?
Yeah, low teens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, what's up, Jana?
Hey, congrats, Kevin, for finding a deal, looking, and jumping in. Yes, this is a great lesson for all of us in the room on these CoStar reports, because I have never seen that this says here in gray, number of properties 2, right? Part of a portfolio. So I think for all of us that have CoStar, back to the brokers, making sure if it doesn't make sense to ask. And then it does have the 2 loans of 42.8, second mortgage of 33.7. So very interesting to come across this deal. So thanks, Grant, for catching something, sniffing something out and letting us know.
Yeah, I mean, they owe $77 million on this project. So before they sell it for 61, just so you guys understand, if they owe $77 million, well, the debt on 77 million, first of all, there's all kind of things you can do. This is why you guys have to know the math. Like there's no way, real estate is a math class. So, and if you're not willing to learn the math, then you should just be a passive investor. So they're paying 6.5% on that money right now. They're paying $5 million in interest only. Just in interest. Well, if I remember right, the NOI is 4.3 million. The NOI is not going to go up because Kevin buys it. So they're losing $700,000 a year. They're losing $60,000 a month just in interest. Interest only.
Getting it now.
So why would they go now? In addition to losing $60,000 a month, $700,000 a year, why would they also say, I owe the bank 76, I'll sell it to you for 61? You understand they would have to come up with the difference between 61 and 76. This is what you should be asking the broker. Bro, why are they going to lose $15 million? Why wouldn't they just go give the keys to him and say, adios? And then he's going to start giving you more data. And he's going to be like, oh, well, yeah, that data's not right. They don't really have 2 loans on it. I don't know, but right now that's what it says.
Right.
And then you're going to find out. You might find out this is not really for sale.
Yeah, and I asked him that question too. I was like, is this a market seller? And he said, definitely yes. They're liquidating all their assets.
Okay, and I believe that because the Elm name, they are dumping out.
Right. So are they just using me to plus up their numbers or?
Oh, 100%. I guarantee you that's happening.
Yeah. So are we going to be marketable? Are we going to actually be competitive in this or not? I mean, right?
Yeah.